Alright. Balance changes. There's something I wanted to look at. Where are you? Come here, Vol Discipline. Oh, yeah. Rip. I forgot that was even a mechanic on that pile of shit.
Wait, what was?
We'll get into it when we get to the notes. I was like, wait, there's other things on Vol Discipline other than giving me buckets of fucking ES? I'm like, oh wow, there was. Still rip, but yeah.
Yeah, I saw that.
I was like, did we delete Vol Discipline from the game? Yeah, you basically did. You deleted it from the game.
Honestly, I'm not even that mad.
I'm not. I mean, it sucks, but let's be honest, Vol Dissy and Vol Haze were fucking dumb. Like,
Yeah.
just
What are
accept
they?
the fact that they were dumb.
Yeah, no, they were completely stupid. Where is this again? Yeah, Vol Haste now grants slightly lower values of attack, cast, and move speed. It's like, okay, like they nerfed it a bit, but
It's still used by everybody.
It's still going to be used by everyone, and it's still going to. I feel like the main thing is, it's going to mean that Aurabots. It's like a kind of indirect buff to Aurabots, because now having an Aurabot in the party is like, you know.
Well, no, it's still a nerf because if you had an Orbot anyways,
Yeah,
the
but
Valhace was still even dumber.
yeah, but my point was Valhace was already good enough that like pretty much why have an Aurabot to run it when, you know, running it yourself is already pretty much all you need. Whereas now it like makes the Aurabot more worth it because you actually need the investment to maybe make this go better. I mean, I don't know, we're gonna have to see what the numbers are, but I'm thinking that
Positive way to look at it, but I mean it's a nerf. That's all there is to it. It's a nerf.
yeah, no, it is a nerf, but that's what I'm saying is, you know, I don't know. Ways to make Aurabots more valued by parties is generally good, in my opinion. Because people who like playing Aurabots shouldn't have to like struggle to try and find ways into parties, you know?
I think the problem with support is that it's more like there's nothing support really brings anymore. I mean, the auras are about it.
Yeah.
That's it. I mean, it's like when we get to like threshold jewels, when we're talking about like Vigilance Strike, I'm like, that's really cool. And then I thought about it for a second, and I'm like, wait, it sucks.
Wait, it's using Vigilance Strike. Whoops. Seems like you forgot.
It's not even that. It's like, so we'll just go into it. It's like, okay, so it's a threshold jewel. It now grants Fortify to allies for 20 seconds, up from 3. And you're like, wow, that's really cool. That's a good, unique kind of support. You know, kind of support role, except for the problem that who the fuck doesn't have Fortify? Like, who doesn't have Shield Charge? I mean, yes, if you are that unlucky fuck who's like, well, I can't use Shield Charge, and I can't use Whirl.
Hey, that's me.
Leap Slam's a piece of shit, then yes, this is pretty nice if you have someone who will chunk on this jewel and hit something every 20 seconds. But it's like, for 99% of like the builds, like everyone has Fortify permanently. It's not hard to get. Now, if this was like you get Fortify for 20 seconds, it's 200% better than normal Fortify. You know, there was something else to it other than it's Fortify that lasts basically forever. Maybe you would have some justification of like, yeah, I can see a support throwing this on.
Yeah, it makes sense. Especially since a lot of the builds that also permanently run Fortify actually have better Fortify scaling. Because, like, a lot of the trees in the southwest of the tree are just going to grab those nodes that increase the amount of Fortify buff that Fortify gives you. So they're not even going to be interested in the...
You know, the people who need it are builds where, honestly, you're not really like getting hit that often. And how the hell? I mean, you have Fortify. On stun everything, you're gonna have Fortify. You have Shield Charge.
No, you don't have. You don't have Shield Charge. You use a Quiver.
That's right. Get fucked. No Fortify. Nah, dude, just be a real man, dude. Fucking Weapon Switch, Bright Beaks, Leap Slam, or just Weapon Swap, Shield Charge.
Yeah, you could. Honestly, I could do that.
Oh no.
Okay.
But it's the whole point of that's the problem with support to me. It's just that there's not enough big enough unique things where you're like, I really wish I had a support. That's why Guardian is so overpowered. It's like, why is Guardian really stupid? Well, you're right. They're just an aura bot. They're also an aura bot that makes you immortal because of all the passive shit they're giving.
Pretty much.
Here's a bunch of ES. Here's a bunch of armor.
And then there's the cursing bots that basically just make, hey, everything in the game is slowed by 5 billion%, deals no damage, and takes increased everything.
Yeah, it's like, that's like, okay, it's good. The problem is like, I even feel like curse bots are slightly shittier.
Yeah, they are.
Because what the fuck doesn't instantly die anymore to good builds?
Mm-hmm.
Like, you're playing a good build, Shaper dies no matter what. He just gets trucked by damage. You know? So it's like, oh, so really the only curse is basically Temp Chains and Enfeeble. And even they're not really necessary unless you're in hardcore and you really want to go deathless.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so let's just go over this then. There's like the improvements to the passive tree just seem like needed stuff, but until we get numbers, I don't know how much we'll be able to like really understand. A lot of them just kind of seem whatever.
Some of them are really good. Some of them I'm like, I don't.
The leech change is good.
I feel like a lot of these changes, at least to me, they feel more like these are pre-added. Like they kind of said, this is more for 3.0, I think, than now. Because it's like, okay, cool. So you added some, physical to code conversion for skills like Ice Shot and Frostblade have way more abilities to be, converted even more to gold. It's like, that's great. Those skills suck.
Yeah.
It's like, Ice Shot's okay. Frostblade is okay.
What's the leech? The leech
Having
in the
it be
shadow.
more converted, cold's still not that good. So okay, So it's like, but maybe they're doing because we're going to be doing more balance changes for 3.0s on skills. Maybe some of these changes are more. Well, yeah, we're adding them. No, they're not going to make a huge impact now, but maybe in 3.0 they're like, yeah, we reworked Ice Shot and we reworked Frostblades, where it makes more sense that. Some of these nodes are getting changed.
Yeah. So
like the thick skin stuff, where it's like we finally added connections to shit that people have been saying for 5 years. It's like, okay.
So the leech stuff, you think it's the Blood Drinker and Mind Drinker that got changed?
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's what I figured.
And that's a fantastic change.
Yeah, no, that's a very good change. Yeah.
Because it never made sense. It's like, so Duelist, who, I get it that elemental damage was needed. That made sense. But the Shadow, who's supposed to be a hybrid caster...
What the fuck are the Duelist leech nodes?
For elemental ones? Like Pure Ellie? It's the node, like, right outside. I forget the name of it.
Oh, wow. Okay, I'm looking at a really old tree, I think. Yeah. Whoops.
I'm like, what are you looking at? I mean, they've been there forever, and they're amazing nodes.
There you are. Got it. No, this tree looked really weird, but...
Let's see, what are they called? Because I don't remember the name of them.
The ones in Duelist? Vitality Void and Spirit Void, yeah.
Like, but it's like, okay, I get it. They need elemental damage for if you're playing an elemental skill, because that's basically every skill in this game. There is no pure physical skill anymore in this game. It doesn't exist unless you're playing Starforge. So why the fuck does the hybrid caster melee guy only get physical?
Yeah, no, it's really bizarre. Anyway, that's a solid change.
Really good change. The others, it's just like, I don't know the damage change. I don't know how much of a thing. I mean, I think it's kind of cool about Master of Forest and the Ashfrost Storm. At least finally gives them a little bit of reason to being picked. Because before, like, those nodes were just like, useless. Like, why would you ever take Master of Forest? Why would you ever take, Ashfrost and Storm? I mean, those were some of the worst elemental.
Hey, Jinta, how's it going?
Saying like, hey, now they reduce Reflect. You're like, okay, they slightly have a reason now.
Yeah, but it's still...
Go ahead.
I mean, I was gonna say, like, the thing is, it doesn't justify enough, because, okay, sure, Reflect is always an issue, but more and more so, it's being blocked out as an issue just at the level of character creation before even all of this everything else is done. Like just getting massive life pools, massive EHP through CI and all that. Like just to be able to effectively tank through and then leech back your own like life.
That's why I'm hoping that they address that. I think that's going to be maybe more of a 3-year change. It's like because I do think reflect needs to be increased. Like the fact that you run into reflect.
I can't even find the nodes. Where are the nodes for the Scion thing?
For what?
For the elemental ones that they're saying where.
It's the second to last one. Master of Force, the physical cluster in the Scion area, and Ash Frost Storm, the elemental cluster in the Scion area, now grant a small value of reduced reflect damage taken of their type. So, basically, Master of Force.
Master of
Force is bullshit. That's like, to me, that's always been more Shadow.
Oh, this is considered Scion? What the fuck?
Yeah, it's the one right by Volpac.
That's not Scion.
That's Shadow. That's between Shadow
it's longer to travel there from Scion than it is from Shadow. That doesn't make sense. Okay, what's the other one?
And Ash Snow is the node that's connected to E. It's that 4 group of elemental, 8% elemental, and the last one's 16%.
Oh yeah, Ash, Frost, and Storm. Okay, that one.
It's so bad. You're just like, no one will take this. And they're like, oh, we'll make the last node give you reduced elemental damage, like reflect. I'm like, okay, I could see it if reflect was ever a fear. Like, there's so many ways around reflect because reflect doesn't do enough. Now, like I said, if you jack up reflect damage, where all of a sudden reflect is scary again, then yeah, I can see that becoming a consideration. But how they are now, if they stay with the same values that they are, who cares? It's not enough reason to invest.
Because the only things that because the only
suboptimal damage nodes just for that.
No, I know, because that's what I was going to say. The problem is that Ash, Frost, and Storm are low because they give all 3, but the only build that uses all 3 is essentially, self-cast Discharge? Is there anything else that uses all 3 elements at once? I guess Wild Strike?
Well, elemental damage isn't bad, because you gotta remember, elemental is at least a way of double dipping. But the problem is the values suck. And you're right. If it's all pure.
I guess it is elemental. So those effects that don't benefit from just pure. What's it that doesn't benefit from just pure fire again? Just elemental damage. I can't think of it. But yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it's gonna be like that. I guess if you're going meme strike, I guess you would want all.
Didn't they?
Sure, why not? Meme strike's now 100%. Converted, so
yeah, that's what I was gonna say. They're also modifying Power and Call the Brotherhood because they're basically making cold skills good.
No, they're not making cold skills good. They're just making it so you have to go cold with those skills. All it means is nobody will play Vortex. No one's gonna play Pyre Vortex. That's all it means because Vortex worked because it was pure fire.
Right. Well, that's what I'm saying. Is they're basically removing those because they made cold skills good because cold skills are trash unless they're fire. And so my main problem here is that I'm not seeing anything that's saying we're reworking cold or we're buffing cold. All they're saying is we're making cold builds that were viable because we could change them to a non-shit element. Complete trash. So it's
and that's why I think it's like maybe this is, like I said, more of that these changes were added now so they didn't have to do them later. But really, we're going to see probably the big chunk of why this is okay when we see beta. When we start seeing 3.0. Because I really do think they are going to, if they really are going to rework most of the skills, then maybe we do see that cold change where all of a sudden you're like, cold skills aren't complete shit. Lightning. I mean, right now the meme is Arc. Let's make Arc not a garbage skill because people love Arc, but it's fucking awful. So it's the same thing. Like, Lightning needs it too. Like, I mean, I know Cold gets the worst of it because Cold is absolute trash to the point where it's like, if you don't convert this to pure fire, it's bad. It's just not good. I mean, and I shouldn't say that. Cold is okay. It's just not okay for endgame. It's not okay for tier 16s. It's not okay for those high-end, big things. But that's because they're stupid and they're like, let's make shit immune to freeze and chill.
Yeah, especially, I don't get the chill because you just have Wither that just does essentially a better chill.
That's my problem with it. It's like I never got that. It's like, oh, immune to chill, and I'm like, cool. It's a good thing they're totally not immune to Wither Totem and Temp Chains. Oh, look, it does the same fucking thing.
Yeah, no, I know. It's okay. So, the unique item rebalance, I'm really hyped for.
I am super excited for that.
The trying to just get rid of essentially dud items. That's going to be, if they do it well, which, I mean, I trust that they're going to do, I'm thinking about 50-50. I'm thinking 50 duds will probably turn into some decent stuff, or like, not decent like, end game stuff, but like decent, just like, this will find a use somewhere sometime. And I'm thinking 50% is still going to be bad, because the problem is, at the end of the day, there's only so many gaps you can fill, right? Like, there's only going to be so many leveling boots and so many leveling bows and leveling whatever. You can't make everything good at some point.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing, if they were smart about it, they would just change it where if you're going to make a leveling unique, make more niche leveling uniques, I think if they do that, they're smart. I mean, think about how many bad unique leveling chests there are. Like Ambush. Or Ice Tome, which doesn't do a damn thing. Like those shitty cloaks that I can't remember the name of because they're terrible.
The 1,000 Ribbons?
1,000 Ribbons. 1,000 Ribbons was good in launch in racing, and that's it.
Yeah.
Let's be honest. 1,000 Ribbons is bad, and this is the truth. That this is why chests are bad. They're bad because tabula rasa exists.
Yeah.
You don't give a shit about defenses usually while leveling, even in hardcore. So having just a 6 link is the fastest humanly way possible to just blitz. So which is why,
but that's what you were saying. I think it's a really smart approach to kind of take that, take Ice Tomb and I mean those kind of things, and just make uniques geared around very specific things. Like, for example, just say your cold skills deal I don't know, double damage at certain level things or whatever, like under a certain level threshold
to help you level quickly.
Yeah.
Think about if I don't know, some shitty leveling unique gave you when something happens you gain 20% movement speed for 4 seconds.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, sure, it's not a 6 link, but I get 20% move speed for no reason.
Yep.
No, I'm not going to use this at endgame, but shit. While leveling, shit, yeah, give me another 20% move speed. I'll take that. Or some niche skill that people would level with, but it's bad. You do something intentionally to make it not so terrible while leveling.
It'd be really interesting.
It's really niche, but it's not going to be good at the end. But right now, while leveling, it's a nice little thing to have.
Really interesting addition, I think, are skill gems that are specifically built for low level.
Oh, like Sunder?
I'm thinking stronger than that. I'm thinking skill gems that just start out extremely powerful, but just kind of they scale really, really high. You get at level 1, this scales a lot until level 30 or level 25, and then at 25 you have a level 20 gem.
They could do something like that. The thing is though, I'm okay with how it is now. The problem I have is mostly the logic. I mean, I won't lie, I am not a huge fan of how they handle most gems, where it's Sunder. It should just be called skill I use until I get Earthquake.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you saw they're buffing
the initial hit, who cares?
No, not Sunder. I don't care about Sunder. They're buffing Earthquake before Earthquake came out. Ice Crash.
I saw that. I'm like, is Ice Crash no longer going to be is Ice Crash not going to be a viable
alternative? No, we're going full circle. We're going Ground Slam into Ice Crash, into Earthquake, then back into Ice Crash, and then in 3.0, Ground Slam is going to be mega buffed, and we're going to go back to Ground Slam.
Ground Slam, yeah. The cycle, the circle of life is not...
The circle of AoE, quote-unquote, melee skills.
But like I said, I don't really like that approach. I never really
No, I know.
have. I'm more of a fan. It's no, I would be totally fine if you could literally have every skill gem at level 1. That's an active skill. That's reasonable. Not auras, not shit like that.
Not certain support gems and all that. Yeah.
certain support gems, but the active skills. So things like there's a reason it should be okay. You play a Sunder build or you play Earthquake, and they both have their different niches and they both work effectively. Not yeah, we basically have this skill because it's to carry you until you get to your actual skill that you're going to use at 28. You know, it's things like that where it's like it feels like some people try to make those skills work, but they don't. Like there's so many skills that you get like early on, and that is their point. They're just supposed to be these kind of holdover skills.
Yeah, they're just kind of temp. But that's what I was saying is that because they've become that way, whether they want it to be or not. I feel like they should just either clear up some skills, like just some skills that just don't necessarily have to be in the game anymore, in my opinion. But like that's kind of they don't want to delete stuff because some people like the really niche builds and stuff. So I get that, but just convert some of these kind of just stepping stone skill gems to just be proper stepping stones. Just be like, we know this is not an end game skill, but when you get to it, like early level 8, level 10, whatever, you just unlock it, you're going to be like, fuck yeah, I'm going to enjoy leveling by using this skill for a short period of time, and, it's just kind of a generic enough skill that it scales with a bunch of different things, but we know that, it's even if it gets to level 20 early enough, it's not going to be a great gem in game, and you're just going to go to, like, a kind of other thing. Because right now, the thing is, even without that design in mind, that's essentially how they're being used, right? You're picking them up, using them for, like, 30 levels, and then popping another thing.
See, I mean, at that point, I'd be like, just go with find a way of making gems go in stages or something, where it's like, okay, you have ground slam, it kind of hits in a cone, and then at a certain point, it gets the upgrade. It's now earthquake,
No,
the proper stepping stone, where it's like, okay, now it's earthquake, or and you make it like Pokemon. You can choose the level.
you make it like Pokemon of Exile. You heard it first.
Do you want Ground Slam to evolve? And you're like, sit your ass down. You're saying Ground Slam.
Hey, when 4.0 hits and we get evolving skills, you heard it here first, folks.
Do that, and it would be okay. We have a stepping stone. And you can stay with it, but we really know what you were going for. You wanted that upgrade. You want that Pokemon to evolve. That was the point of it. You're not supposed to leave it out of fucking.
Oh my god.
It's supposed to go to Raichu. I don't give a shit about the books. So
Ground Slam is the Pikachu of fucking melee skills.
It is. It's now the Pikachu. It is the old reliable. Unless you're going to give that to Sweep or Cleave, but let's never talk of those skills.
Sweep and Cleave just turn into Reeve, right?
Yeah, I'd rather Cleave just go to
Reeve. Cleave turns to Reeve, and then Reeve turns into, I don't know, Blade Flurry's getting nerfed. Blade Flurry's getting nerfed. They're like, we're not giving it 2 leagues this time. We're not gonna do the same as Blade Vortex. We're not gonna give it 2 broken leagues in a row. Just 1.
Just 1 this time, guys. Sorry. Watch it still be the dumbest thing.
Chinta said Fireball is evolving. Fireball evolved into Meteor.
Yeah, you can do something like that where you have some sort of...
We have a Meteor skill in the game. It's just an enchantment.
Yeah, and you also have, Magma Orb. What do you do with Magma Orb?
Magma Orb turns into Fireball.
No, because you get Fireball first. You get Fireball on Beach.
Oh shit! Wait, don't you get Magma Orb right at the start too?
Yeah, you get it when you kill Hillock.
Yeah. Oh shit!
It's shit. It's bad.
Fireball devolves. Your fireballs now fall on the floor now randomly for no reason and just kind of bounce around. It's like someone threw a really shitty fireball and it's like skipping on the ground.
Yeah, that's the downside. Like, you also have an evolve that backfires and it goes down. So Fireball, you're like, Fireball's a good skill. Nope.
Oh yeah, just keep PoE a bit RNG gated, right? Like when you evolve skills, you kind of get random chances. They could like devolve. It's like voling them.
Yep. Gotta play the show. That's why you gotta carry like 8 of them. You just keep gambling. It's like voling for 21.
It's like voling for 21, but it's like evolving for. It's like Digimon all over again, basically.
Yeah, it makes Digimon Part 2.
Okay. Anyway, let's go back to something actually kind of, one-handed weapon damage. There's actual numbers here, so daggers just nerfed overall. 40, 60, 80 to 30, 40, 50.
Who cares?
No,
they're still primary. You're not gonna be like, I'm gonna use a wand for a crit build.
No. They're still primary, but I definitely like this. I like the lower, just like not having, straight up. Oh, I equipped a white item. Oh, I have 80% increased global crit chance on, my fucking crit build.
Here's my problem with that, and this is the truth, right? All right, so let's look at the top, right? 80 to 50. That's 30%, right? I can tell you right now, in my build for next league, that 30 crit would be about 1.5%. So really all it is you're nerfing my crit by 1.5%. Too bad my crit is still, 81%.
Yeah.
It's kind of like, yeah, it's cool, but if you're playing a crit build, you're still going daggers. A loss of 1.5% or 2%, you are not giving a shit.
Okay, but now on the other hand, what happens if you have a crit, a crit wand, like just explicit and everything on it, but not the implicit 50%? How much more do you lose? Because it's that's just what I'm saying. Is like looking at the loss and everything. Because before you'd lose 80, now you'd lose 50. Now, how much is a 50 difference?
That, like I said, I mean, that's the whole thing. You can look at it on the reverse side. It's like, okay, if I lost 50 crit or 80 crit, you're losing 5%. Right? But 50, you're probably losing like 3.5, 4% crit, which is a lot.
But I think this...
It means that if you could get, like, the problem is PoE trade exists, right?
Mm-hmm.
If I got, like, let's say a wand with 109, like tier 1 crit spells, right? And I have a dagger that doesn't have crit on it, you're gaining 59 crit instead of 29. And I mean, try to think, like, the best thing is that shield charge is now basically the meta. So you're still gonna have a shield. So it's not like you lost fortify because you're damn wand. You can just shield charge.
Right. But that's what I'm saying. Is like now that you're not so dependent on fucking whirling blades like we all used to be, and now that the damage difference in between ones, because especially like and also like ones in the fucking, what are they called, the maces and everything, those got buffed as well recently. Like they're still pretty trash, but they did get buffed. So assuming further buffs to the bases that are bad, because that seems to be the direction they're taking right now, they're nerfing certain things, but they're mostly buffing. Like most of this, if you look buffs versus nerfs, it's like 80% buffs and 20% nerfs, right? So if we follow this pattern where they nerf the underused bases, they buff the underused bases. Yeah, my bad. And then these things, like, they still remain strong. I mean, 50% crit is still strong, but, like, the wands get better, then it actually feels like, you have a bit more of a choice. And I like that approach, and just not being like, oh, okay, well, daggers are crit now, everybody uses wands, or, oh, well, wands are trash, everybody uses daggers, which is how it's pretty much always been.
Oh, I think it gives you a little bit better in terms of buying power. Now you can accept, okay, there's no really kick-ass daggers, or the daggers on the market that are good are retardedly expensive. Okay, I can get a wand, I'm going to lose, 50%. Instead of losing 80, I'm only going to lose 50. But, I can make up for it because the difference in price is, exalt worth. Multiple exalts. Okay, maybe, I can lose 3 and I can take a hit to 50. That's a power charge. I lost a power charge basically.
This also
I lost 80.
Yeah.
But it's still top tier for crit builds. Top tier dagger is still better though.
Yeah, well, obviously, but that's the thing, is that it's good to have alternatives on the road. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, not everyone is going to be dropping 25, 30, 40. Every character just be like, yeah, I'm going to buy a 12 Exalt Dagger. I don't give a shit.
Yeah. Okay, anyway, so let's move on. But I think that's changed. Yeah, just claws are just generally being changed. Lower level claw, who cares who plays lower level claws? Claw-based types now have separate life and mana on hit values. Grant more life on hit. Okay, more life on hit, but isn't their life on hit really low anyway?
The life on hit's not terrible if they buff it a lot, but the problem is what skill are you going to use it really? I mean, the problem with claws has always been is that they don't have a place. It's like, Okay, cool. Let's say they can make it 100 life on hit.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, most builds you have like enough leech where you touch something and you get a shit ton. It's like, okay, I heal slightly faster
Yeah.
and I lose damage, which would turn into more leech. So it's claws have just never really had a good place where it's like, why would I use a claw over a foil, over a dagger?
Can you convert life gain on hit
Why?
to ES gain on hit, or does that not work?
Let me look. I think Ghost Reaver should do both. Let me look. Yeah, it's life leech only. I have no clue actually.
Because if they don't do that, I feel like as long as ES is the main thing,
Maybe they
none of
can.
these
Like, maybe
changes.
that's the thing is if they change life gain from hits is applied to energy shield instead. Maybe,
Mm-hmm.
but yeah, I don't think so. Other than jewels that you get the 2 ES gain on hit bullshit.
Yeah.
Or maybe they just add if they were sorry, they just add it to fucking claws and be done with it and be like, alright, it's life ES. Who fucking cares?
I
You know,
feel
but
like
the
that would make it a
passive would
bit
be
too strong
it
because
would be. Well, it
then
just means you
then then
don't
like
get
hybrid builds would be so strong. You'd be getting so much EHP from every hit.
exactly. It'd be a point of using a claw.
I guess fair enough. But the problem is at that
You
point is
still
like,
do less damage though. You're still gonna
yeah.
lose some
Hmm.
crit multi. You're losing crit. You're losing something. You
Yeah.
gotta take it so, but you are gonna be more tanky, which should be the trade-off. You're gonna lose damage, but you're tankier. But like I said, there's the problem with that. At that point, with how damage is right now, you'd probably go claw then because you're like, oh no, I go from doing 2 billion damage down to 1.9 billion damage.
Yeah.
What the fuck will I do?
Spend about like 3 more seconds on big HP bosses like Shaper, I
Yeah.
guess. Uh, do people use Marika thrusting swords? I've
No, because their bleed
never.
chance was like they're still bad. Here's why. Let me explain. The simple logic.
Because I feel
Things
like,
that aren't reliable aren't good. It's how this game
yeah, it's just
works.
like evasion.
It's like, okay, cool. That means if I think, what's Void Heart? It's 50% on bleed?
I think it is now. Let me check.
If I remember right?
30 to 50%. Yeah, it's 30 to 50 now.
So it's 50%, right? If you take the bleed nodes let me see something. Let's double check, because I got to go look at Duelist, because I'm pretty sure it's what, Gladiator, Slayer, who the fuck cares?
There's some in
I think it's
Duelist, Dirty
Gladiator.
Techniques. There's Dirty
Yeah.
Techniques and Melee Chance to Bleed, which would give you a total of 33%. And then there's Bloodletting, which increases attack damage, and melee attacks at 8% chance. So you could get a total of 41 on that. And then there's Razor's Edge all the way west that gives you a 5%.
Well, no, remember, it's 25% chance to poison on hit against bleeding enemies. So you get 8%.
Wait, what is? What, Void Heart? No, Void Heart is just flat.
Dirty Techniques.
Oh,
Dirty Techniques is poison on hit against a bleeding enemy.
my bad, yeah. Okay, yeah, you get 8%
in
there.
that tree. And then I think it's
And then
like,
8% on Bloodletting.
And let's see, Bloodletting. No, it's just damage over time. And increased attack damage.
Yeah, but before it,
You get 8. So there's 16% right there. We're not even going to count Razor's Edge. I guess you could in this case. So fine. We're going to say you also went to Razor's Edge. You now have 21%. Plus that 20. That gives you 41%. Right?
Mm-hmm.
So if you take the 8, 16, 21, 50, so you're up to 71. In theory, that means you still only need to pick. I mean, it's fairly good. I mean, 71's not terrible. Like, it's fairly consistent. The problem is how bleed works because it doesn't stack. You really need it to be that one hit that crit.
Mm-hmm.
You really needed it to be the biggest hit possible. So you really needed to be 100. So at that point, you're going Gladiator, which is, 50%. Plus Void. I mean, I guess plus a Void. I guess now you could skip the Void Heart. You would get the 50, and then, the 21, and then the 20. You would hit the 90. That's all it is. I mean, you could use it. But it's like, why? It's just like slap out a Void Heart, and you're basically getting the same.
I guess what it opens is 100% chance to crit if you have Void Heart for assassins.
It would
Because
work
you would
out
have 30, then you'd have the 20 from the sword, and then you have 50 from Void Heart. So you would have effectively attacks of 100% chance to cause bleeding.
Yeah, because you'd have 30. Yeah, you would have 100.
30, 20, 50. You'd have exactly 100.
100. You would permanently bleed on everything.
Yeah.
And poison is what a joke. Poison. Ooh. Hard
Yeah,
thing to
which would give Void Heart essentially up to 80%. It would make 80%
that
poison
turns
on hit.
into a game again is okay, and it's always the problem. Can you get a Maricat thrusting sword to not be shit?
Yeah.
So
And then it's only useful for like that build.
Yeah, that's it. And like I said, you could probably go Gladiator with it, and you could skip the Void Heart, and you get a ring slot for more damage. But it's, I mean, I'm a firm believer that, in my opinion, Bleed's not very good.
Unless you're doing puncture. Puncture can be very strong.
It can be, but Poison's pretty strong.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, no, it's just like I never thought that Bleed. The problem is I get the concept because Bleed and Poison are basically the opposite of each other.
Mm-hmm.
Poison, you want really fast hits because you just want to stack it, while Bleed is you want to hit one time really fucking hard, like really hard to get a gigantic bleed. So that's on the one-handed thrusting weapon?
Yeah.
You know, it's just I never got like why they put if that should have been what Flesh Ripper was.
Yeah.
Oh, two-handed crit axe, still no one will do it. Put the bleed on the flesh. I mean, it's called Flesh Ripper. The base type is called Flesh Ripper. The one before that's what? Impaler? How the fuck was that not the bleed weapon? I mean, GGG, please. Please. Think
No,
about
dude.
it.
You only bleed when you thrust, not when you rip.
Yes, not when you rip. But like, yeah, like, cool change. It's a buff. It will not be used.
No. One-handed mace.
Some other changes. One-handed maces. Now, this
Stun
is
threshold rather than stun duration, which opens up stun possible builds
yes,
for one-handed maces.
which makes more sense because the biggest problem with this makes sense for one-handed mace because the
Yeah.
problem with one-handed maces was always they didn't do enough damage to stun
Yep.
anyways.
No, I know.
Who cares
Which
if you have duration?
it's a good change. Problem is, what kind of skills do you use with a one-handed mace?
Maybe if you had enough attack speed, maybe you would try to do like Ancestral War Chief, and it would suck.
Mm.
The other choice would be what? Earthquake? One-handed mace Earthquake? Maybe. Problem is it wouldn't be fast enough.
What about Sunder if it's rebuffed, or Ice Crash?
Ice Crash maybe. Ice Crash, like one-handed Ice Crash would be a possibility.
Because one-handed Ice Crash, I know people were playing that when it was originally launched.
They were. The thing is, it turns into is it's still a damage value. It's like, do you have a one-handed mace strong enough that you can reliably stun things?
Yeah.
You know, I mean, it's basically you would have to try to use a one-handed mace with your build, and you'd have to see, do you have enough damage to pull it off? And then there would have to be, I mean, it would be good. You would get your glove slot back.
Yep.
I mean, you would get to use a glove, you know, actual gloves and not face breakers. But, you know, if the damage isn't there still, even with reduced stun threshold, where you can reliably stun something with your attack speed, because you have to have enough speed to. The thing with stun builds is the same thing. It has to be a permanent stun, or close to a permanent stun. Otherwise, it's like evasion. It's like everything else. It's like here's a mechanic that will sometimes help you.
Yeah, it'll save you like 80% of the time, but then the 2 seconds where he just pops out a stun and one-shots you, you're like, well, rip.
Yeah, it's like, you know, it's like this. It's the same thing. I don't know if it will be consistent enough with that kind of change to make me go, one-handed mace has a spot. But like I said, we haven't seen the one-handed passive dose changes. There might be shit in 3.0.
Yeah.
gives you a reason to go, maybe this will work. So yeah, that's kind of wait and see. It's a good change overall, just because the original made no sense. So I mean, it's automatically better than what it was by default. Is the original implicit made no sense. So we got staves have had their block value increase. It's just a buff. There's nothing else to say.
Mm-hmm.
It's you're either getting 6% more block or 2% more block.
Yep. But the problem, I mean, yeah, it's a buff.
It's a buff.
I just don't see block characters usually playing around with staves that much. But I guess it makes the build more accessible.
I do think that the 20 should have been higher. I think it should have been like 24.
Yeah,
I
because
think it should have been 6 and 6.
this just feels like the 12% are way better and the 18 are okay. I mean, yeah, cool, 2 more percent. Like, it's good, 2% block, but it's
if I remember
okay.
right, the 12% are all what you would use, I think, in a physical build.
Mm-hmm.
It's like all the weapon types that have that better damage potential in terms of physical builds, with the 8%ers kind of being the 18s were ass anyways. I mean, all we need to look is what's Hegemony's era? Imperial, if I remember right, or is it Maelstrom?
I'll look it up.
I'm pretty sure it's an Imperial staff.
Yeah, I think it's Imperial. I'm just looking it up right now. Imperial would be 12%. No, it's not.
Yeah. Which one's Hedgies?
I'm just gonna directly look for it. It's Judgment Staff.
Judgment,
which also had 12. Yeah, so Hegemony's got buffed by effectively 6% block.
I think is what the plan is. It's that those melee builds get the bigger buff, while the staffs that are like the caster stats like Maelstrom, they don't get as much because you shouldn't be getting hit anyways. So like, hey, let's just give casters another easy 4%, and it's on a +3 base, and they get a second 6 link. That might have been a little too ridiculous.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's like.
Anyway, it's a nice little buff to stave builds. I think it's a good defense.
2% block is literally a passive.
Yeah, and 6% is 3. That's a lot.
3 or a major passive, because not seeing the changes to the passive tree. The whirling barrier, which was the biggest block node for staves, is 6% block with staves.
I really like the one-handed, two-handed now granting flat accuracy instead of increased, because I think that it's going to help a lot, especially on the builds on the left side of the tree.
It will, because the biggest problem isn't. It's like the problem with percentage. Oh, cool, 18% increased accuracy, 10 evasion or 10 accuracy. Ooh boy, 18% more of 10. I get 1.8 accuracy. So useful.
Rounds down, you got 1.
Oh boy. You know what I mean? It's just kind of like.
Yeah, no, this is a good change. This is just a good change, I think.
Solid change overall. Makes it definitely. The problem is, once again, and this is all the thing is, can you make these kind of builds where you're going to use a one-handed or two-handed sword better than the alternative?
Yep.
That's always the problem. Why are
we'll see.
Sword, not counting Fair Nostra, which doesn't fucking count.
Yeah, I mean, we're gonna have to see with a lot of these. We're gonna have to see, what are the number changes to the skills, what are the number changes to the uniques as well to work around with these, because I feel like a lot of these bases might actually make some of the leveling uniques that we were, that we're not thinking about right now, or just uniques that are generally trash that we just completely forget about, might make some of them better to just kind of use as starting things.
Yeah, I think they'll be better in that regard, but I'm talking like pure endgame. It's okay, can you give me a reason to use this over a unique or a dagger? And mostly by that I mean, if you're playing a melee build, dagger. Why aren't you just going crit dagger? Or if you're going a two-hander, are you going to pick this over mace or axe? And just go RT and not.
We'll have to see. Okay, so area of effect changes. Now this is the thing that makes me the most sad, because my max AoE build is going bye-bye. Which is why I gotta get working on that video really, really fast.
I actually think this is a good change overall, though.
Yeah, it is. I'm sad because I can't make ludicrously large fucking skills anymore, but this is from my understanding. Basically, it's like you start with higher, and then your points each point give less, so you can't go up as much because of diminishing returns.
I think it's really good because it frees up points. Now with 2.6, beforehand when I'm doing Fire Nova Mine, it's like, okay, is it possible without being like insanely point inefficient to get both Witch and Templar, like AOE nodes? With this change, it's like, fuck the damn Templar nodes. I don't need them. I just need to get Witch good enough.
Yeah.
That's good. No longer do you like, I guess I want bigger AoE. I better get an intuitive leap so I can get Scion's shitty ass placed ones.
Why do you even care about bigger AoE, dude? Your mines literally give you AoE because of your ascendancy.
No, I'm talking like just in general.
Okay, yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
I
I
see.
see. Where people are
Okay.
using you don't have to worry about that crap now. You're just like, all right, I'm just going to get.
Yeah.
If this is how I think it's going to play out, it's like, okay, if I get Witch or Templar, I'm basically golden. The crease from getting the second one is so marginal.
I hope that the increase of auras, because they said that they did double them to result in a similar change, but if the change also affects it just makes the end result of auras being smaller, that I think isn't good, because there's just no bloody reason for auras to be that split up. Most boss room fights are becoming smaller and smaller, so anyway you can't really run out of auras. So the only thing it does is make supports less good in larger groups in maps that split people up.
No, it's a trick. What they're really
What?
trying to do is to finally get people to quality auras. Because right now that quality is completely pointless.
No one will. No one will. People will just run out of auras and then get angry at the support for being like, "Hey man, you ran out of my fucking range."
Now it's gonna be more mandatory. You're like, bitch, you need to quality that up. You're playing bitch boy. You better quality those fucking auras. I don't want to have to think anymore. You're gonna quality this to 20. The range is already too small. I'm going too fast.
We don't even know how much that 20% will actually increase now because it's getting diminishing returns with everything else.
Yeah, but it's
So quality is even worse now on auras.
Oh yeah, it's worse, but it might now be like kind of the forced situation where you're like, no, now you might have to get it just to break even.
Anyway.
It's their trick. They're like, we're gonna get rid of those GCPs. We gotta stop GCP man from ever return. We need them back. So we're gonna make you need more GCPs.
Yeah.
Currency manipulation.
Sure.
I know, like it's like I said. I think overall, hopefully, it makes sense. I think it's gonna hurt curse. If they're smart, they'll make it. Like the problem is, it's like curses. It doesn't matter. I mean, I guess if you're a caster, it sucks if they do have a smaller range. It hurts supports if their aura range is smaller. But the problem is like if you're playing an aura bot, your auras are already pretty funny.
Yeah, no, that's what I'm saying. I think the change can be good. Especially if it reduces restrictions on just like, oh, you're playing AoE, well, you got to pick these nodes on the tree, and fuck off. That you can't play if you don't. I'm just hoping that in their modification of Curse and Aurea Radius thing, they do it well. That's all. I
hope so.
That's all. And Melee Splash apparently now also AoE thing actually.
Yes. So, Melee Splash. Tell me when they remove name locking, and I'll give a shit.
Good for SRS. Very good for SRS and summoners.
Great for SRS. Great for them, but like, the whole point of Melee Splash was supposed to be, hey, here's a way of making these single target melee skills usable in general.
But now, when you Vigilant Strike to give your party Fortify for 20 seconds, you can hit multiple mobs.
Woo! It's like, okay, it's great, but like, fix name locking, and it will help. But until name locking is fixed, most of the skills you're attaching to Melee Splash either didn't give a shit, like Flicker Strike. Flicker Strike didn't give a shit. Flicker Strike does whatever it wants. You're just hitting packs. It's going to hit the pack. Now you just hit packs better. But it was things like Glacial Hammer. No one's going to go ahead, I can use Glacial Hammer now as an AoE. I can use... Oh, no, I guess you didn't need Melee Splash. The Threshold Jewel.
Yeah.
But like, I don't know, like heavy strike. We'll go heavy strike. You know, you still have to name lock, so you're still not going to do it. So cool, the radius is bigger. You're still not going to use it because you're not using the skills that would need melee splash to begin with.
Yeah. But it's a step in the right direction at least.
It is, but like I
if
said,
they
y'all
if
really need to
they
get rid of name locking.
yeah if they get rid of name locking though, at that point we'll have a good melee splash to use.
The melee splash is, definitely up there in terms of being just really good because, like I said, a lot of those single target melee skills are retarded. Like, people don't know just how much damage they do with a good weapon because they are such a pain in the ass to use. Like, if you, like, that's the only thing I'm afraid of is, like, these changes in melee splash and that. Then they're going to be like, oh, we got rid of name locking. And then it's like, those are the best skills in the entire game because they hit so hard. Like, you will one-shot packs, period. Like, everything is just dead. Like,
We'll have to see.
so, the skill changes. Sunder gets buffed.
Not. Less damage with his secondary area effects. I thought most of the point of Sunder was trying to get a lot of mobs together and then get the AoEs get the AoE to overlap and just blow everything up. So then isn't this just a nerf?
It is, but at the same time, the problem with Sunder, dumpster. That was Sunder. If you could lap it, it was really good for. It was decent. I shouldn't say good. I should say decent for pack. But then you would run into any boss or anything with health, and you would have to spend like a year trying to kill it if you were just using Sunder. So it helps in that regard.
I just don't think the less damage within its secondary area effects was necessary.
Oh, that's a terrible nerf. But at the same time, I don't care because it's still Sunder, and it's still a bad skill. So
Ice Crash, we'll see the numbers. Maybe it's back. Who knows?
I'm hoping it's just an alternative to Earthquake. I still don't care because really, Ice Crash would still, to me, just basically Earthquake.
Yeah.
Blue and did ice damage, but did less damage. Now it might be Ice Crash, but blue, but does the same damage. So good on Ice Crash. Maybe it will see play.
Maybe, and maybe with the new elemental nodes and like fist to cold conversion nodes and everything that they're adding, maybe that'll help Ice Crash be actually like a right side of the tree earthquake kind of deal.
Yeah, it will maybe finally have a place somewhere.
Yeah.
In the game.
Blade Flurry nerfed. Who would have thunk?
I can't believe it. Blade Flurry got nerfed.
That skill is so weak. It seriously needed some love.
I know. I mean, it was a terrible skill that you basically needed. You could actually almost go with a white weapon.
Why don't they every patch now just have to add blade nerfed? That's all. They don't have to specify. Just blades overall globally reduced by like 50%.
Yeah, anything with the word blade in it. Like I said, I have to say the number changes. It still literally might not matter. Like, Blade Vortex, we nerfed it, guys. No, you didn't.
No, what they nerfed is the Pathfinder, really. The Blade Vortex is fine. It's just the problem with Blade Vortex. The problem with Blade Vortex wasn't, its completely retarded damage. It was the fact that Pathfinder just abused it so beautifully.
So well. So then we go to Vol skills that we already talked about.
Yeah, Vol Haste, whatever.
Vol Haste is whatever. Vol Discipline, ripping, simple as that. It's like
it's now just an ES pot, basically.
It's okay. I'm going to get hit. I know I'm through it. Pop Vol Discipline. But it's kind of one of those situations like it's like, okay, if you're in a situation where you need to fight through the damage, maybe you just shouldn't have been there. I guess if you're gonna I'm gonna face tank something in Shaper, I guess it will help because you'll just recharge through the degen, I guess. But in most situations, Vol Discipline's pretty much like.
But I feel like it actually puts a kind of on equivalent power with Vol Grace, and so insofar as like the next couple seconds, I'm just really hard to kill. It's not impossible. Like his old Vol Disci max level and everything is just like you press it and you're pretty much like I just can't die.
Dude, the only sad part is, and this is the true sadness of me seeing this change, is it probably also means that I can't one-shot boss. That makes me sad because I never did it. Said it repeatedly. I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna
What?
play Vol Righteous Fire.
Oh,
Now
yeah.
I can't. Because now I can't pop Fall Discipline, get like 30,000 life, and instantly kill everything in the game. That's the true sadness of losing this losing the
Yeah,
game.
you got like what, 4 days?
Yeah, fuck that. I'm not leveling Vol Righteous Fire, dude.
Anyway, Threshold Jewels, we've already seen a couple of them that were planned before. Now there's like the 3 other ones that they're showing, the Heavy Strike, Viper Strike, and Vigilant. Viper Strike's actually, like, I like the Threshold Jewel. The skill's still trash, and I don't think anyone's gonna use it, but...
Once again, get rid of name locking, and this could be, like, fantastic.
Yeah.
If as a way of getting Unholy Bite.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's stack based, if you're playing any fast build, you could probably get it. You'd have to be using it though as a some sort of diaper strike character, but it would give you a way. You wouldn't have to use The problem is why did you introduce Sin's Rebirth? Why the hell did you have to introduce Sin's Rebirth? But I guess in theory you wouldn't have to use Sin's Rebirth, and I guess that the upgraded change to the shield that gives you like Unholy Might when you block for like 10 seconds. Yeah, you wouldn't have to use that. You could actually use an actual item.
Overall, yeah, there's good ideas. I'm hyped to see the rest of them because I think there might be some really good ones. Since there's a lot more. Vigilant Strike, I think what your suggestion was saying, like if this is more of a support gear thing, actually making it better, or maybe making it affected by like aura, like making it considered an aura. So that it gets affected by aura buffs and all that stuff. That would maybe be interesting. But overall, these are kind of just whatever, because Heavy Strike, Viper Strike, and Vigilant Strike are things that are very pointless. And although I think there'll be a niche use for Vigilant Strike, most of the time, as you said, people kind of provide their own Fortify.
Yeah, and like I said, Heavy Strike is the same thing with like kind of going back to if they fix name locking.
Yeah.
Because trust me, if you have a 40% chance of dealing double damage. I mean, you gotta remember, Heavy Strike is the second highest base damage attack in the game.
Yeah.
I think under Vigilant Strike. So having 40% chance
to double that,
having a hit to do double damage,
which would then get multiplied by crit as well if you crit on it.
Yeah, I mean you're talking an absurd amount, and with melee splash being having the bigger radius.
Yeah.
I mean that gem in the future could be just obscenely damaging. For the cost. But like right now, like you said, good change. It's a buff, yes, but until
we'll see how it plays out.
Until there's a reason to use Heavy Strike, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Cool gem. It's getting vended for whatever the fuck.
All right. Well, is there anything else we want to cover here?
I don't think so. I think it's literally every change worth caring about.
All right. Just give me a second then.
I mean, what? The legacies?
Nah, whatever. Yeah, alright, just give me a minute. Alright, well, I'll be uploading this on my YouTube channel in a short bit, and yeah, we'll be going over the patch notes when they hit in a couple of days. Until then, as always, I'm Alastiir, and thanks for watching.